Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Orlando, and today we're talking about should you invest in land? We're talking about just regular pads, pieces of land. Should you invest into them? I have heard the saying all the time that you should invest in land because God isn't making any more of it. Now, while that is true, for beginning investors, I have some tips for you to really decide, is buying a piece of land the best investment for you? Let's find out. Okay, so the number one thing that you should be looking at if you're going to invest in a piece of land is you need to look at why are you investing in this piece of land? Are you investing in this piece of land so that you can build a retail center? Are you investing in this piece of land so you can build a multifamily unit? What is the property zone for? And a lot of times people will go and they will see these pieces of land in this wooded area that you think to yourself, oh wow, this is so cheap and I could just knock down all the brush and put a nice duplex or a single family home and voila, right? But what are you thinking? Are you thinking it all the way through? Are you thinking, will this property even zone properly? Is it even zoned for a single family dwelling, a multifamily dwelling? Is it in an industrial area where houses aren't allowed? You have to really focus in on if this area, this piece of land that you're trying to invest in will fit your goals. And zoning is a really big part of that. You really have to take into consideration if the city will even allow you to accomplish your goals with the piece of land you're buying. And also remember, the reason why you may see a really cheap piece of land is the amount of work that you're going to have to do to turn that into a single family dwelling or a multifamily. Is it connected to the city sewer? Will you have, everything segregated? I don't know. Whatever the case may be, you have to really look at those things. And for a beginner investor who doesn't really know much about real estate, this can seem like a daunting task. Number two is, how are you going to make money from this venture? Like, the reason why you're investing in a piece of land is because you want to make money. So how are you going to make money initially in this deal? Are you going to hold it for a big amount of time and then sell this piece of land in the future, hoping that developments around it make that piece of land more valuable? Are you really going to develop it and turn it into a multifamily or single family dwelling so that someone can rent out of that property and give you cash flow and also appreciate the value of the land with the building, meaning improving the piece of land? Are you going to rent out the piece of land and give it to farmers so they can use it to farm, whatever crop that they need by basically renting out the piece of land? How are you going to do this? And for a beginner investor, that's a lot of options. And all of those options take a different skill set to accomplish those goals. Have you ever tried to negotiate with a farmer as far as renting out the piece of land? Have you went to the city and talked over plans on how to develop a piece of land? And if you haven't done any of those things, then like I said, this could feel like a big burden. You're gonna have to finance this or pay for it in all cash. Let's just say you finance it. That means that you have to very fast make a turnaround, guys, a very fast turnaround to figure out how you're gonna get cash flow onto the piece of land so that you can actually use that money to pay the mortgage down. Or you're gonna be taking the money out of your own pocket and then using that money to pay down the mortgage. And that's not what we wanna do, right? This is an investment. Now, can the investment in later rounds, later years and years down the road, if you pick the right piece of land, can it turn out to be a wonderful, probably one of the best investments that you have ever made? That is a possibility. But for a beginner investor, what I'd like to really preach is let's try to control what we know, right? So we do know that if you buy a building already built, a single family, a duplex, a triplex, fourplex, any of those things, right? we know that as soon as you buy it, you can get someone in there and you can start getting the cash flow. You can start getting the tax benefits. You can start getting all of these things. And let me tell you what happens when you buy a piece of land. You don't get the tax benefits. You can't depreciate a piece of land. You can only depreciate a building that's on top of the land. Number two, you get no cash flow. And then number three, appreciation is a lot slower, guys. It's a lot slower because it's just a raw piece of land. It will only appreciate if there is a lot of building going around your piece of land. So let's try to hone in. Let's try to hone in on what our expectations are and how to make the best strategy that we possibly can as a beginner, right? Maybe down the line when you have multiple properties, you're on your third, fourth, fifth property, and an opportunity comes where you're willing to take that challenge up and you have cash flow and all this other stuff going, then you can go for that. But I am just describing to you the challenges that are going to come ahead when you buy a piece of land. Okay, so number three is financing. This is my arena because I do financing for real estate deals, for commercial deals, investment deals, and the number one thing that I get a lot of is land deals. And I can tell you right now that when I get a land deal, I am just like, no thank you. Land deals are extremely hard to finance. You will find that it is very hard to financing for land deals. And here's the reason why, guys. It's very hard to find someone to finance a land deal because most of the time borrowers want to only put 20, 30% down. But here's the thing. Most lenders want you to put down 50%. You have to come in with 50%. So if you buy $1 million piece of land, you better come up with $500,000. And even that's not enough. You have to have $500,000 and you have to have some type of income coming in because the property won't generate income by itself. And then on top of that, you better have a plan on how you're going to develop this land or you're going to do something with it. You just can't tell a lender that, oh, I'm just going to hold this land and eventually it'll be worth double in 2 years. It doesn't work that way. A bank or a lender isn't going to work on things that may happen. Lenders want to know that these are your plans and this is what you're moving towards. Now, it's a little bit different if you come in and say, hey, I'm going to develop it, but you're still going to have to take the risk of putting down that 50% and then going from that point. So the question is for a beginner investor, do you have 50% to put down? Do you have 40% to put down? Do you have 30% to put down? And the answer to that is majority of the time, people don't. You don't have that much money to put down. You're just trying to get into real estate and you're going to try to put down 40, 50% down on a piece of land. Do you know how many actual buildings you could have bought with that 40, 50%? You could have actually bought 2 buildings, putting down 20% down and then actually get it. And then even worse, if you are living in it, you could have bought, I don't know, 20 buildings, right? Putting down 3% on each of those. Oh man, guys. And this, once again, I do want to make this perfectly clear. If you are a veteran investor and you want to do this, go for it. But I'm talking about my beginners out here. My beginners, I just say, let's focus on the buildings that are available and buildings that you know that you can get that return on immediately. You don't have to go through a 2-year process of trying to develop something and work with builders and subcontractors. And, I would never suggest a beginner that's where they start. So once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and got value out of this content. I'm gonna need you to watch this next video here. It will help you get into your first rental property. That is my promise, to get you into your first rental property. Watch that video and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.